Welcome back to the Vikings Film Room, brought to you by the Vikings Entertainment Network. Pete Bercich here, so yes, that means it's film time, and we're doing a little film study on every single one of the Vikings 2020 draft picks. This brings us to the next guy, Josh Metellus. Now, Josh comes to us in the 6th round, pick number 205 overall, a safety out of the University of Michigan, and I'm very intrigued by this pick, and we'll get into that in a minute when we jump into the film. But for Metellus, he's a 3-year starter at University of Michigan, very productive, 172 tackles, 5 interceptions, 21 pass breakups. So the kid has been a starter for a very, very long time. In college world, he is a seasoned veteran, and we're going to see some of that on the film as well. One piece of advice for Josh: as soon as you show up, find Marwan Maalouf. As a player, and I know this personally, everyone wants to make the team at their position. Well, the problem you have is you have Anthony Harris and Harrison Smith, 2 pretty darn good safeties in front of you. It doesn't mean you're not a great football player. It doesn't mean you're not going to make this team, but you have to understand how. You got to go into Marwan Malouf's office, knock on his door, and say, I'm going to be your best friend. This is before going to the position coach. You got to get in there, get to know the special teams, let them know that, hey, whatever it is that I need to do to make this team, I'm going to do. I believe that Josh Metellus can be one of the better special teams players out there as well. So I'm looking for this kid to have an impact in a number of different ways this year, but tons of potential. Love the way he reads, how quick he is to react. Let's get into the film and see what we like about Josh Metellus. Now, throughout the course of the film, you're going to see Josh lined up in a number of different ways. In this instance here, he's the deep safety. So as soon as the ball snapped and the receivers run that route, you have the flare. He sees the flare. He knows that the outside guy is coming underneath, so he immediately stops his feet and goes underneath to pick that thing off. So when you have a safety who's not a 4-4 guy, he can't waste any movement, but I think this kid is veteran enough and can diagnose the plays. The ball gets tipped, he comes underneath, jumps up, and makes the play. So you gotta love, and you'll see it throughout this film, his ability to recognize plays and to be at the right place at the right time. University of Indiana, you'll see Josh out toward the bottom of the field, so he's kind of playing a nickel corner but still a safety off. As soon as he sees the receiver chop his feet, he looks inside and sees that slot receiver coming out to block him. So he knows he's got himself a whip screen in front of him. He plants his foot and is able to get underneath, get in, and break that play up. Now, you don't see too many of these short underneath screens get broken up. Most of the time, best case scenario, it's a throw, catch, and then an immediate tackle. But Metellus can recognize what goes on in front of him, plant his foot, get downfield, and then make plays. So I'm very, very excited about what he can do. Another play against the University of Indiana in the red zone. You'll see him lined up. As soon as this receiver comes in motion, he's signaling out to the other 2 defensive backs what the coverage is. So he's out there making checks. This is one of the hardest things you can do as a DB in a number of ways. First of all, it's 3-on-3 on the outside. They have no extra defender. That's tough. The second thing is he's covering that slot receiver, and that slot receiver runs a corner route. So he's got to set up, be inside with his body, and then get outside and undercut that route. So it's just, I love to see the awareness of where he fits, the receiver coming at him blocking the inside, but as soon as that receiver cuts to the corner, he plants his foot and goes underneath and tries to get underneath that throw and break it up. So fantastic recognition. All right, University of Iowa. This is old school here. This is just get to the middle of the field, eyes on the quarterback. He recognizes the 2 go routes on the outside, and he's able to get all the way outside the numbers to get in on this play. So again, the back pedal, the recognition of routes, and then getting himself and getting his body in the right position. All right, so with safeties, you always think about run support. In this case, you're going to see the counter. Metellus is the deep safety, and he recognizes the pull and gets himself outside. And you'll see on the end zone view of this play, as soon as that guard pulls and the end comes across, he's outside, keeps his shoulders square, gets his head across, and he drives his feet. And that's a sign of a great tackler, is upon contact, do you keep running your feet or do you stop your feet? And in that case, Josh kept running his feet and pushed that quarterback out of bounds. Another example, of Josh in run support. You see him at the top of the screen playing almost where a corner would play, but his ability to diagnose, get outside of the running back, and then step up and make a play. You're not going to see this guy get blocked by tight ends very long or by running backs very long. Keeps his shoulders square, gets outside, works to get that head across, and gets the tackle for a loss. So a pretty sure-handed tackler for a free safety. Normally it's the strong safeties that are in there in the box and hitting and tackling. In this case, you got yourself a free safety who can cover some ground and make some tackles. Another example, outside, as this play develops, what I love is he squares himself as the running back is coming to block him, keeps his shoulders square, but immediately knows that, hey, I got to get outside and get contained, and he does. Now, the ball's fumbled and put on the ground, but he's right where he needs to be to scoop that ball up and then score. So another outstanding play. His ability to diagnose, not just in the passing game, but also in the running game is very, very impressive. This kid has a ton of potential.